Wow, we want to order. How long are you gonna order for? Even other places out there that are, you know,
What's first on the list? Public safety.
Am I sure for that?
Yeah,
you are. All right, I see.
We got it up and rolling on here, so we should be good to go.
Okay,
Live stream.
I'll shoot out the screens here. All right, call the public works, public safety meeting at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Chair, or Alderperson Kim Olson,
Here.
Alderperson Bob Smith,
Here.
Alderperson Roger Smith.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Wait, I haven't got it.
Okay,
I'm not part of this, you can do that.
thanks. All right, where are you?
Right.
No one has one, right? Okay, can we do the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Approval of the minutes for November 28th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Any citizens' comments tonight pertaining to public safety? Okay, moving on, the monthly EMS report, calls for service report. Do we have, Christine or?
They were gonna attempt to join in live on Zoom. I'm not seeing them.
So they usually show up on there.
Yeah,
Is it acting up again?
no, it's all here, but I'm not seeing anyone trying to join in or anything.
Okay. Well, then why don't we table that for now?
Okay.
All right, then next we'll go to the fire department report. Hello.
How are you guys?
We're fine. I
Good.
think.
I'm supposed to have, Assistant Chief Thorson here, Thorson, but he is not here, so, equipment update. Number one, the equipment's, everything got completed last year except for the hose testing that we talked about, the vendor. Still have not set a date for us, and we're having a hard time finding somebody that will do the hose testing, so we might have to go back to the old school way of doing it, where the firefighters do it. It's not as reliable, but at least we would have some of the testing done until we can find a vendor that will actually come and test the hose for us. So I'll keep you guys updated about that. I'll let you know. I just texted me, he's on his way, he's running late, so Staffing update number 2. We are currently at 21 members. Unfortunately, we did have active member that passed away on January 15th. Roger was with the department for 45 years. And unfortunately, he, like I said, passed about a week ago. With that, it's made some of our older firefighters reevaluate their positions on the fire department. I have a feeling we're gonna have several of the older firefighters retired here soon. We did get notice last week that Mark is going to be retiring, so we're gonna be down to 19 members. Mark also has about, and you know how many years it's got to be 40 also. Yeah, so he's been retired from work for a couple of years and hung on, but he's in his mid-60s also. And quite honestly, this is not an old person's line of work. I consider myself an old person. I think I turned that corner where I'm officially old, and honestly, I'm not sure that I should be one going to the building anymore, but we don't have many new folks signing up, so that is going to be a continuing issue as we move forward that we're going to need help with. An update with that right away too. The county did have an initiative last year that was paid for at the county level that was trying to recruit firefighters for all the departments, and it kind of fell flat. We didn't have anybody to respond. They printed out several hundred flyers, put them in newspapers. They also put out signs in the front yards, and it just was not successful for really any department. So all suffering, unfortunately. Any questions about that?
Good question. Is there any changes that you know of to make it more, interesting for people to join? Or are they still keeping it hard to get people interested in it?
And I wish we had that answer, because I think that's the $1 million question is how do we re-engage, especially the younger folks? They really don't have a sense of commitment. It's not just our organization, it's any organization across the city, whether it's the Lions Club or the Rotary. I don't mean to speak for the Rotary Rockland Department, but getting young folks to sign up and commit to it is hard. What usually happens at the fire department level is we will get 18, 19, 20-year-olds. It's awesome. They're gung-ho, they come in, they take as many classes as they can. They're, might be awarded firefighter of the year, and then the spouse gets pregnant, or they meet a significant other, they get married and they move out of town, or they get a job paying more money down in Milwaukee and they leave. The other double-edged sword that we have is we do a really good job of training these folks. We get them up to the level. Once they're qualified at the firefighter 1 level, they can start applying for full-time positions. With us, we're volunteer department. I mean, they make, I don't even know how much they average a year, but it's not much money. If only costs a year, they can go and work for $50,000, $60,000 a year at a full-time department. They're begging for people more than what we're begging for them. So it's hard. It's just hard to double-edged sword. You get a really, really good firefighter and we walk out the door. The one thing that I will say is Mayville should be proud. I believe that we've had, since I've been chief, 7 firefighters that moved on to full-time positions, which is the most that's ever happened within a decade. So that's saying a lot about our town that we're doing really well. So any more questions about staffing? And fire call updates. I do have the year-end report. Were you able to mail that out?
It is attached in the agenda packet. I was able to attach it.
Thank you.
You were.
I sent it last minute, so thank you very much. I don't know if you want me to read down the whole thing. I can hit a couple highlights here. We had our busiest year ever in 2022. We had a total of 124 fire calls. We also had 16 times where we used a mutual aid box alarm system. That was where we responded out of town. And I know we always want to hear how we're doing compared to the folks coming in town. Are we getting a good deal with this system? Again, there really shouldn't be any deal, but we did have 56 calls where we had other departments come in, and we only left the city 16 times. So, one thing to note is actual fire calls. If you go down about line number 5, we did have 15 fire calls where there were actual fires, 3 vehicles, and the number I wanted to point out was house fires. We have not had 5 house fires in many, many, many years. And they were significant fires this year. So that 5 house fires for a small town is a lot. You can also see one of the most common ones is gas and propane leaks. We had several of those, and most of those were actually active leaks this year. I would say 90%, 6 or 7 out of that 8 was active leaks. And then you can read down from there. Other thing I want to note is down at the bottom what our members do other than fire calls. You can see we spend 1,201 hours on fire calls, but we also spent 452.5 hours in practices, 377 hours in meetings, 630 hours in steward, which is taking care of the station, the apparatus, taking care of the odds and ends. We spent 447 hours in schooling, and we spent 238 hours in community service and fire prevention. And with that 238 hours, we reached 2,655 adults and children throughout the community, which is a huge number of a town of 5,000 people. We track all that. That all ties back to our 2% dues. I know some of you have not been on the council long enough or committee long enough for an older person to know fully what the 2% dues are, but everybody's going to know real soon what they are. Because I just got notification late Friday afternoon from the state of Wisconsin that we're being audited for the 2% due accounts. I did right away get a hold of Angie, and it was really that good today, and we're already working on that. It's not a difficult audit, but it's a very involved audit. They look at water flow, so Courtney from the water department, I called her right away. They have to have all their numbers. They have to account for all the expenditures and deposits into the account. And then at the fire department, they go over a whole bunch of details from our apparatus, what we're required to have, all the way down to how many members and how many links of posts we have. So, but I'll take care of that. This happens about every 3 to 5 years. I believe it's been about 4 years since we had our last one. And this will be my 4th audit since I've been chief. Any questions? All right. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Equal to me, and I go.
Yes, and sure may. They will have the EMS report next.
The Zoom wasn't connected, so
I know, I tried to send you the link again.
good thing that the city's small. So, calls for service report. So, and you guys hear it every month about how busy we are. That has not changed. We do our annual report in February. Takes a little while to get all of the numbers together for ambulance runs and billing and everything else. So we don't get those reports until February. So you'll get our annual report next month. We did finish the year with 1,118 calls for service. That was just 4 calls short of 100 more than we did in 2021. So very busy year. Starting out this month the same. So we're tracking exactly where we were last year at this time. Number 2, for our staffing update, we did have 1 resignation. We had a young lady from Colesville that was coming over here and helping us out and actually spending the night in our station from time to time. And she was also running for Allenton, and she was promoted to lieutenant at Allenton. So she's going to commit her focus and resources there. And we appreciated her time while she was here. She was a great candidate for us. We also did hire 2, though. The biggest asset we have to our community is our ongoing EMS classes that we continue to host here. Julie just finished her 4th class. The classes are always full. The students were all successful in passing the practical Saturday, so they'll go on to the written. And so they're doing outstanding. We do have 2 that we hired out of that class. So 2 great new civil servants here in the city of Mayville. They're looking forward to having their 5th class next fall. For training, we have our meeting this Wednesday. That's why we try to do some of these by Zoom if we can. But our next meeting and training will be this Wednesday, and we're going to be focusing on cardiac, which is the point we're in our last cycle for relicensing. We'll be licensed every 3 years, and we have to have a certain amount of hours for each category. So we're a little light on our cardiac, so that'll be our training for this particular month. Any questions that you have for me at all? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we will have the monthly police department report.
Good evening.
Hello.
Chief Fuller is away as an executive law enforcement training this week, so we will talk to him. First thing on the agenda here is some parking issues on Bridge Street. A couple of weeks ago, there were a number of vehicles that were left there and was not immobile, which we had addressed. And it hasn't been an issue since, but it's going to be something we're going to continue to monitor to make sure that it can problem again. I think there's some ideas about some limited time parking maybe being proposed. Prevent this from being an issue in the future. But right now, the parking issue is resolved. Department update, we're full staff, with 6 patrol officers, detectives, myself, and chief, and administrative assistant. We're in the process of hiring 1 part-time administrative assistant. We had something along the lines of about 25 applications come in, and narrow those down to 12 individuals who we interviewed. We had some great applications for applicants. We did offer positions to 1 person who accepted it, and we're just in the process of trying to get them on board now. So we should be full staff here within the next couple of weeks as far as all of our positions. Some training coming up. Some executive law enforcement training for the chief, some in-service training, and a couple of professional conferences for detectives and myself and the chief. Things are going smoothly at this point. Good. Any questions about anything?
No, but will you be staying up here for the next discussion? Okay. All right, other items of discussion, possible action. Number 1, discuss with possible action extending UTV, ATV hours. So I'm not sure if this is, I know what it's about, but what does it entail?
So when talking with Chief Tolner, I think there was some interest in extending the hours for UTV and ATV operation from, right now it's cut off from 9 p.m. until it's 7. Yeah, from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. There's no ATV or UTV operation allowed. We haven't really had any issues with ATVs or UTVs over the course of this past year. Matter of fact, we've only had 7 traffic stops over this period of time since the adoption of the ordinance for UTV. So it really hasn't been an issue. Only one of those stops were related to hours of operation. So we're not really seeing any issues or anticipate really problems with hours or operation of ATVs. I think the interest lies in people using those for work, and some of the factories do not have hours that start and end, sort of that time. So I think there's some interest in being able to use those vehicles to get to and from work and whatnot. So in talking with Chief Tolner, I don't think we had any sort of opposition we'll see problems with that. With blockers. So
Has anybody indicated to you what hours they would like or what their goal is?
I think the anticipation is maybe to remove that limitation for hours. If it seems like it becomes a problem or there is an issue to address that down the road. But at this point in time, we haven't really seen any violations.
So you're saying get rid of the hours completely?
I don't think there'd be any anticipated problems from our side of the house.
What was the rationale for limiting the hours?
I think maybe noise or,
Yes, we have a noise ordinance that you can't operate machinery or heavy equipment after 9 p.m. And that's one of the reasons. Some of the ATVs, UTVs are louder than Harleys. I guess they would have to, if they didn't have a hours of operation limit, they'd have to do something to you wouldn't want them coming up and down your neighborhoods with no muffler on. And at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, when kids are trying to get to sleep. So I don't know. There are a few of them in town that are pretty loud. Once we don't allow them after 9 o'clock, that hasn't been an issue. I don't know. I don't know how you segregate the noisy ones from the quiet ones.
I think, our officers are out there, they monitor, and we've been monitoring it very closely, just to make sure that we get out of hand. We didn't really know what to expect when this came out and was approved, and it didn't seem to be the problem that I think we thought it might have been. So, if there seems to be some issues, we can certainly address those.
I've had zero problems on my side of town, but I've heard on the other side of town, there's been problems, so. I don't know.
I'm in favor of opening it up and do the problem with when they come. I guess I adopt the idea that person is gonna be a problem person and a noisy ATV or UTV is gonna be a problem noisy person or something else, so. It's all a matter of person's character. Most people with the Harley or an ATV try to be respectful of their neighbors. Most people do. That's kind of where my head's at.
Do we want to vote on this tonight?
I don't think there's,
Let's discuss it. Your vote would just be to send it to the full council.
I make a motion to send it to full council.
With or without
Recommendation approved.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Any other questions?
then moving on. I don't know if this would involve you. Thank you, I think that's it. Discuss with possible action additional street lighting on North German Street. Let's see. Jack, how would you like to tell me about that? I haven't been up there in a long time.
I'm actually unaware of it, but where are we talking?
Yeah. Do you know?
No, I don't know who put it on the agenda.
I have no idea who put it on the agenda.
Are there some dark areas on German Street up there?
There's that one kind of between me, my house and your house, right, this little dark there, but otherwise I think they kind of.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Specifically says North German Street, that's, from Barway north.
we got one on the corner of the ball. We're good on Turner, we're good by Barway, we're good on Easy.
All right,
I don't know who to put on the agenda.
yeah, maybe we should table this.
Yeah, I'm
Until we
sure as
know
well.
more.
Kind of adopted this one in the middle.
Alright. Would somebody like to make a motion to table this item?
I'll make a motion to table.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
I
I do know one thing, if we are gonna do it, it's it would have to go through public light. Okay, 'cause we don't own any of those street lights. Everything up on German is wooden poles, so we would definitely have to go through public light to see if they can go into this.
Okay,
This year,
okay. All right, item 3, discuss approved temporary Class B license for St. Mary's Cribbage Tournament event to be held February 25th at 28 Neighbors Street. And, you're here to see where this goes today, correct?
Yeah, this is the first time I'm part of this, and so I thought if you had any questions, I'd be here to answer them.
Okay.
You would be the agent, lieutenant, have you checked on, somebody done a police report on the application?
I haven't seen any issues with it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve it.
And I will second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, we're all good?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. And I'll second that at 6:23 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, next thing.
Which comes next, finance?
Yes. So,
All right, I will, call the finance committee to order at 24. Take the roll.
Alderperson Bob Smith,
Here.
Alderperson Joseph Reese.
Here.
Alderperson Roger Smith.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the November 28th meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for November 2023.
Second it. Motion been made and seconded. Any comments or corrections? Seeing none, you take the roll, or no, we don't have to take the roll. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Item number 3, citizen comments about finance. Anybody here for that? Nope. Item number 4, Tag Center report. Michaela.
Good evening, everyone. All right, starting off with the Tag Center report. Swimming lessons start on February 7th. 12 out of our 23 classes are already full. So we're repeating what we did last time with swimming lessons. So that's going well. I got Google Street View to come into the Tag Center in early December, and I got a virtual tour of the whole place. So when you Google the Tag Center, it comes up with this whole virtual tour. So anyone on Google can really see our whole building. It's kind of a cool little walkthrough that comes up on our Google search. Lifeguard research classes we are in the beginning of March. And then also our full lifeguarding classes in the middle of March. We have 3 guards that are up for research, and then me and one of our swim instructors will be taking the full lifeguard class in the middle of March. Any questions on that part? No? All right, membership report. I believe we attached it to the agenda items. Just 2 quick things, under 1-year family memberships from November to December, we're up 32 memberships. So just that alone was around $16,500. That was very good. And then at the end of the sheet here, from the start of the year of January 2022 to the end of the year, we gained 348 memberships. So we are definitely up on the year with that. On the second page with daily users, we really got the same numbers that we get every winter. So aquatic, we're up, the gym users are up, and the walking track itself. Any questions on that? Good. Maintenance report. This is always from Scott Comensberger, and we really haven't had any issues. One issue we did have that I brought up in Park Board at the beginning of the month was the cold weather Minervas were down. I remember when we had like that really bad cold front. So those just went down, but since then we've been pretty good on that standpoint. Any questions with that? All right, lastly, rec report. I have pickleball league starting Tuesday nights, 1 beginner league, 1 competitive league. Beginner league, I have 10 teams, and then the competitive league, I have 8 teams. I also had another person turn in a sheet right before I left work today, so I think it should be 9 and 9, so that's good. That starts next week Tuesday, and then goes till March 14th. Indoor golf league is going on right now. I have 8 teams total. We are in the 2nd week of that, and or 18 total, 7 weeks for the whole league. This is our second week. Bags, ping pong, and sixes volleyball are still going strong. We started 50-50 raffle at the last Bags ping pong league, and that went over really well. So it raises money for the rec department and covers funds for my employees. Beginner yoga winter session is underway. That takes place at the pavilion on Wednesdays. Sue Healing is the instructor. It's a really good turnout. That's every Wednesday. Adult open gym basketball, Monday nights at the Naval High School gym. It's really a bunch of guys that go up there just play basketball. It's usually like 15 or so. It's free of cost, but they reached out to me to open the gym every Monday, so I do that. And then just going forward, already looking into summer dates for our adult softball leagues. That's men, women, and co-ed. More kids sports sampler, like football, craft and swim programs, and youth basketball. So that is all I got.
Any update on youth basketball tournament?
Yes, so when I brought that up, what was that, in November?
A little late.
Little late, yes, so in March, WIS Sports opens up for basically enrollment, and you can just. I think you have to buy a membership, but I think it's like $60, and then I can list all the tournaments on that, so.
Okay, so probably next year we'll have.
Yes.
tournaments. Good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yep, that is all.
So the golf teams, that's with the golf simulator?
Yep.
Okay, that's way better.
Yep, 8 teams, and they have the whole week to play, so Monday to Saturday. They have a different course and different.
That's great.
Can eat whatever they do, so. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay.
Treasurer's report.
Okay. Do I stay here? Do I go
Just
there?
stay right there. Ann.
Okay. So I didn't include a treasurer's report this month. We're still with the changeover. We're trying to work through just getting access to the websites, the information we need between the changeover of my position and the clerk position. So we're finishing up December and just with the timing of the changeover, there's still a lot to be done, a lot of statutory deadlines by the end of the year. So then I hope I have the banks reconciled, but then I still have to go back, double check with a lot of things and do some cleanup. We're working through that. I think, and then the fire department mentioned, now we have an audit February 1st. So I have to figure out that one also. One of the things I did want to ask coming up is I had looked at what she typically provided for this, and it was rather lengthy report. So we were hoping before next month, I can try to find a better formatted report that is a bit more concise, a bit more to the point, you know, that we could actually use for discussion. So that hoping to be done by February. The department heads have been very cooperative. I've gotten a lot of questions, but I haven't been able to give them back information quite yet. So that's kind of where we stand on that. No firm numbers or changes. But I suppose it's a good question.
The report we were getting was on 2 formats, and it was over 100 pages. It was over detail and non-specific at the same time. I think the trimming it down, streamlining it, and putting it all in one format would be much more understandable. And the main thing we like to know is how we're doing as to the budget specifically to each department. They like to know, council likes to know, because we believe in holding people to budget or making adjustments so that their budget change according to their needs. Anyway, so yes, that's great that you're working on streamlining it so that we can ask intelligent questions if that's possible. So, and we look forward to a more streamlined report and a more specific report, I guess.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I don't know if you have any other, it's just kind of bad timing between tax collection right now and year-end reporting. But yeah, hopefully, we'll be able to come up with something, even the software program alone can probably come up with something more specific.
January report usually includes the scoreboard on what percentage of the taxes were paid and how that's coming, pretty good community for coming and paying taxes. It seems to be the line up to pay them.
I didn't look at what we've done today, but when I was looking at it yesterday, I believe we were at 53% collection.
Right.
All right.
So I'm still, I know today was a big day, and this week will still be fairly heavy.
Do you have any more specifics in your report?
Not that I'm comfortable reporting yet. So that's kind of where we're at, just with timing.
Anybody else have any from anybody have any comments or questions?
I look forward to more streamlined report. That I can more easily understand.
That's what we're having. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item number 6, other items of discussion with possible action. Some of this stuff I didn't put it on here, so you'll have to help me through this. Anybody here knows what it's about? Discuss with possible action, Rock and Boom and Audubon Bond Days accounts. I think that's self-explanatory, but let's see, there you go.
It is. I
Couldn't see the podium there.
I don't have much to report. The question I think last month was about what we were gonna do with the money in the account. So I spoke to a lawyer about it and probably have to figure out something else, seeing as the city doesn't want to have it anymore in their possession. I've talked to the city of, or the Chamber of Commerce, so they might give me a bank account under their DOT, or not the DOT. Yes, correct, because the lawyer said it would take, with them being in the tax status too, they said, in tax time, they don't want to even attempt to do it, and it was a local Mayville lawyer, as well as they said it's just extremely expensive to get Audubon days under like a 501c, so they just didn't really want to, they didn't think that was the best avenue for me to go under, so I think if the city still lets me use their numbers for certain discounts, I think that paying tax on certain items is kind of inevitable at this point. It's not the end of the world. I don't think we paid $1 million for Audubon in 2022, but we had to pay tax for some stuff, but I think that just comes with the territory. So I don't want to stick, I mean, yes, I get it's like a one-time thing to make it a 501c, but then I think I've never ran one before. I have no idea. I think there's some kind of goals you have to have and things you have to meet every year, and I just do not have the energy to do that.
It starts making it complicated.
You're right, and I don't have anyone behind me to help me, make these specific goals that this 501c has to make sure it's done. I just want to throw a big party in Audubon days. Like, that's basically what I want to do. So I don't want to make it any harder than it has to be.
Have you had any, has either, the Rotary or,
Lions Club, Rotary,
Chamber of Commerce, have any of them? I mean, that's.
Yeah, the chamber is looking into it for me, so I could basically have.
We have some time.
Yeah, they're already talking about it. I've gotten 0 answers yet, so. Before Sarah had left, she said there was a certain amount of money that was delegated just for Audubon days. So that would have to be transferred over to,
Right.
and it makes literally 0 sense to put it in my name directly. I don't want that either. So it would be under the Chamber of Commerce's numbers.
And there are,
Just the access.
they could tell it some, so. There was the money that exceeded expenses in both of these. That has to go, you have to decide what to do with that.
What do you mean?
I mean, you made money.
Right, the profit. Yeah, that would be going to.
That would be going up following along with where.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we follow me.
so I don't think we're ready for that yet. We have to wait for, I think, another month. But that's why it's on there, because we have to do something with the Rock and Boom and Audubon Days accounts so that she can continue to raise money and spend money and getting it done.
I did, however,
Go ahead.
I know you're busy, how you call your, one, but I was hoping to see you. I did get an email, there is a class being offered. And I know you're busy already, but I might entertain the idea of looking into it myself.
Yeah.
And forwarding any info, anything new. Sure. That. If it's helpful, if the chamber has a good idea of what they're doing with this, that'd be great too, but yeah, just putting it out there as a reminder.
Yeah, if there's anything that, yeah, somebody else wants to do that, I don't have to. I'm giving the footnotes that would be great, so.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to hear back from the chamber, because I don't really have an alternative at this point, so. As I'm currently banking on, I think it's like 39,000 and some change for startup fees for 2023. So just getting, I mean, I'll keep a detailed report, obviously, of what money goes in and what comes out, that's really not that hard, I just. Have to have some way of having access to it, whether it be an actual checkbook or a debit card or both, so. And just having, then versus having you guys approve every receipt, because there will be massive amounts of receipts, and that's just the nature of what it is, so. And Rock and Boom says that they don't have nearly that many, so I will have that.
Okay.
But if they were handled by one of these fraternal organizations, they could.
Yeah. They can do that, yeah.
So I would suggest we table this for a month until you get you know where you're headed with it.
Yeah,
Getting
hopefully.
more-
Hopefully I get a yes here soon, that was just a recent development in the last 2 weeks, because I didn't really have a plan otherwise, because. Otherwise, I didn't have one.
I think that's the right direction to go.
Yeah, and I mean, in the event, I guess, no one can predict the future, but I guess if we do get big enough where things are starting to get really big for some reason, I mean, Audubon Days does have a pretty large track record. I guess we'll have to go down that road at some point, maybe in an off season when it's not so busy. And finally, just spend the money. I don't want to be the one to have to file everything every year. I barely keep up with truck.
When's the soon, when do you think you have to make commitments for advertising or promotion or?
So last year I started in April. I went back to when I started making everything and creating my list. So I have a little bit of time. I've already booked all of the bands I'm booking right now based on the fact that I'm hoping we have money, I guess, and on paper we have 39,000. So in theory, we have money. And with bands, I didn't realize everything was booked out 2 years in advance. So I had a hard enough time booking them up now
Really?
for Audubon Days this year. So I'm like, you know what, I have to sign on that or we're never gonna have anything, so.
You don't have to give them deposits down? No.
No,
So
I think if it was in my backyard probably, but no, this is a established event. so.
Anybody want to make a motion to table this till next one?
I'll make a motion to table it until next month.
A second? I'll second it. Please take the roll.
Alderperson Reese,
Aye.
Alderperson Roger Smith,
Aye.
Alderperson Bob Smith.
Aye. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All good.
Item number 2. Is this the same for you? No.
This is every year, the Rock and Boom.
The contract,
Yeah.
do we have to do this contract now or what? Discuss the possible action regarding Spectrum Pyrotechnic contract. Who makes that contract out?
Isn't that
If you,
for TV?
no, it's something completely different.
That's for the fireworks.
Yeah.
If you click on the item in the packet, it's literally the fireworks again out of ungated account. So I think these two items were appearing together.
Tell us about it.
Well, she wouldn't, that would be a Mike Schuler thing.
Oh,
So I would say let's just table this until next month too, because I think it's just the same thing. Because that account is where that comes out of, is for their,
okay. So I'll make a motion to table that also till next month.
I will second that motion.
Please take the roll.
Alderperson Bob Smith,
Aye.
Alderperson Joe Reese,
Aye.
Alderperson Roger Smith.
Aye. Okay, a motion is stable for me. Item number 3, Bridge Street project, pay request number 7. I believe this is the final request. Is one of the engineering people here, or I guess we don't have to have them here. Did everybody look it over? They, Uncle signed off on it and approved it.
Appears to be in order, from what I can tell, with no order.
Yeah, appears to me, so. I think their punch list, as they call it, the final thing on it was taken care of. So I will entertain a motion to the pay request number 7 for the Bridge Street project, the first part of it.
I will make a motion to approve pay request number 7 for Stover Sewer and Water.
I'll second it.
Okay, please take the roll.
Alderperson Joseph Reese,
Oh,
Aye.
wait, is there any comments? Anybody else want to, Jack, you're on that part of it. Any other discussion? No? Okay, continue, I'm sorry.
Alderperson Joseph Reese.
Aye.
Alderperson Roger Smith,
Aye.
Alderperson Bob Smith.
Aye. All right. Item number 4, Bridge Street project pay request number 1. That would be for the infamous east part of Bridge Street. And that seems to be in order according to the paperwork and the request. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Anybody else? Look at that. Be nice to have the, somebody to have,
So it looks like this wraps up the whole thing though, right?
well, it doesn't close it out. There's probably looks like there's room for a punch list, and it doesn't say final payment. That's why I wish you were here.
I was taking that this was final payment.
That's kind of what I'm looking at.
The first one actually said final payment.
Because if you look at, you have your original contract price, and then the current contract price, and then the total completed and stored to date, that is a very different price. And then the payment amount is different after some of these other numbers are done.
That's what it seems like. However, if you remember, right when after they got done, they had some issues down there by the chiropractor place. And they had to dig it up there. Jack? Is Jack still? What's that?
Are you discussing the sensors for the 7 doors? That's been taken care of.
That,
Highway lighting came in, that problem has been resolved, so
okay, so are you under the impression they're all done?
I do believe so.
Okay.
It does say in the paragraph that this is not final payment.
Yeah, I
So there
know.
may be something else still out there.
That generally there's for those of you who don't do this every year, there is a period of time when the residents or the business owners have a period to raise issues. Those issues are called the punch list, and then the engineer looks at them to see if there's maybe a curve that needs to be shortened, or a crosswalk, or a lawn, or in this case, there aren't too many lawns, but you know what I mean, Jack?
Yeah, I know we did a walkthrough. There were a couple of real small items. Maybe that's part of the reason it's not being closed out.
Yeah, generally the engineer would say this is the final.
Right.
Put it on, right on, this is not, it's not been characterized as the final payment, so I would,
So that we're gonna hold off on it then?
no, we can,
No.
payment number 1, we can approve. They're asking to release the funds to the contractor, and I would do that, but I would say that whoever made the motion should allow for the fact that this might not be the final payment.
Well, do we have any idea what we could be on the hook for yet? And then,
It looks like roughly 60,000, right? Very good.
Yeah, the estimate as opposed to what they're billing, there might be more stuff.
I guess I just feel better if I mean, we need to pay it.
Yeah, right, it's not characterized as final payment, so they might come back with payment number 2 or final payment. These are what's known as customary draws against, and generally the contractor requires draws based on the performance and the part of the job that's done. And there's always something left at the end for gigs or problems, or, you go back through and then they withhold something, sounds like the $60,000, they're withholding something until they sign it on. Yeah, so as long as they're not asking for it to be a final payment, I have no problem paying it. So, good. They want to I'll make a motion to pay it with the understanding this may not be the final payment.
I'll second your motion.
Any other discussion? Please take the roll.
Alderperson Bob Smith,
Aye.
Alderperson Joseph Reese,
Aye.
Alderperson Roger Smith.
Aye. Okay. You don't want me Hornswoggle the meeting if you have any objection to it.
Orange shot?
Hornswoggle, that's an old timer word.
That's a new one.
I'm older than you by one generation. Okay. Discuss with possible action land lease. I'm not so sure which land lease this is.
That would make at least 2 of us.
I think I know. I think it's the one behind the Tag Center.
I don't know. Oh, wait, that could be because, all right, yes, and I'm familiar with it because it went through planning.
Yeah.
But we are not ready for prime time on that either because we were waiting for the guy who wants to end the lease and the guy who's interested in picking it up to make an agreement, because the guy who has the lease now is really stuck for, right? And I don't think there's been anything new on it. Anybody here? Any the farmers? So I will recommend tabling that until we get more information from either planning or the leaseholder.
And what's the land that you use for now?
It's farmland that is behind the Tag Center that some fellow was leasing. He's got 2 more years left on his lease. And he's decided to stop farming. We have another farmer who's
Interested in.
who's has the stuff around the industrial park, who's interested in taking it over, but he pays substantially less. And we were waiting for those two to get together and talk about it. There's another, now that I think about it, there was also some question as to the guy who's interested in taking it over couldn't find a way to access it. He says, I don't know how he's getting in there. So there was some reasons why. And if they would have been here tonight, we could have asked them. But,
Do you want to officially table this or just take no action?
let's see. I think that's right. Well, I don't know, if we take no action,
If we take no action, it's just gonna have to get put back on the agenda. If we table it, it'll automatically come back up next month.
let's table it so that it has to come. Maybe that'll make sure they get resolved.
I will make a motion to table the discussion with possible action on the land use.
I'll second the motion.
All right, any further discussion from anybody? Right, all in favor? Aye. Item number 6, discuss with possible action listing the former library, 111 North Main Street for sale. This is, I don't know, public discussion caused this to happen, or is it just time to do it?
The mayor had asked to be put on the agenda.
But he didn't send a long little description of why?
It did not.
All right, well, generally, the groundbreaking is gonna take place sometime next year, suppose that's what, early next year, for the library. We don't have any prior commitments for this, so when the library is sold, it can either be represented by a realtor it can be for sale by owner, of which we're the owner. And if we do have a realtor, our normal situation is to entertain.
A market analysis.
Well, the market analysis determines that's part of it. But generally you interview realtors first to see who would likely do the best job of representing it. Part of their presentation might be a market analysis. However, I don't think we can assign it to a particular broker without us deciding to list it with a broker. I mean, we have two questions. Are we gonna list it with a broker or list it for sale by owner? Right now, we have a broker handling this property up in the industrial park. We have, and I think he's here, Mark is here. We had a realtor help us with the golf course. List that. So, we have to decide, I guess the council, we'd have to recommend to the council either listing with a broker, offering it for sale by owner, and we're looking for a procedure here. Yeah.
Seeing as though it's right next to Quick Trip, has Quick Trip shown any interest in purchasing that property?
They sure have, but they're like everybody else. The more, that's one of the reasons why you list it with a broker, or if you offer it for sale by owner, you're likely to get neighbors and people who pretty much are familiar with it. If you list it with a broker, it's gonna get attention, more interest, and more people looking at it. There are a number of people who expressed an interest in it. The building to the south has expressed interest. A couple of local businessmen who rent right now come in to the library and ask about it. In other words, if you list with a broker, you have to pay a commission. Generally, commercial is usually 10% around there. And if you do, you'll get more potential buyers. And if you get more potential buyers, then you probably get more interest, more money, because what happens is we only have one buyer.
If we do it for sale by owner, somebody's gotta be managing
Right.
all of the interaction.
But then you have a lawyer to be, so I think we're gonna end up listing it with a broker, like we did the golf course, like we do with the land around in the industrial park. Now the question is, if we choose to list it with a broker, because we have no prior agreement, the only thing we have is a contract that makes us responsible for selling it to offset the cost of the new library, and that's in the agreement we have with the Bacher Foundation is paying for the library, and one of the elements of that was that we would take the proceeds of the sale of the library and apply them to the new library. So we're kind of stuck with that. And even if the city would keep the library, we'd have to somehow determine what that value was, so we'd have to apply it through the taxpayers to the agreement, I would guess. But in any case, if we choose, I think we can recommend to the council that we sell it for sale by owner, or we sell it to a broker. That's one thing, I think. The other thing we can do is decide the process for choosing a broker. Okay, and I recommend that to the council. I think that's what the question would be. If somebody was here to describe why they put this on here.
I'll give you one more question.
Yeah, you can have more than one.
Is now that parking lot behind there, that park?
That's part of the whole problem.
Library?
That's another part of it. No, here, the library was put on land donated by a citizen in, I think, 1955. And that citizen had a home there and the shed in the back and the parking lot area was also there. The city has, it's two separate parcels. We have to decide, if we sell the library itself, and somebody wants to use it, city has requirements that buildings have parking, off-street parking, and so we'd have to decide whether the whole parking lot, half of which is municipal parking lot where we sell permits. The hotel uses them, other local residents, or we would include all of the parking lot. So there are some questions about what to list. Right now, the footprint of the library, the library parking is right behind it, so there's like 8 spots there, they're limited to the library. If you're gonna sell it for an ongoing use, that building was to remain, we would have to, in order to use that building, we have to have off-street parking, so would any new tenant or new owner. So that's a consideration. The other consideration is, can the cities, our agreement doesn't say we sell the parking lot, it just says the library property.
Can we sell the library's property and include in the sale of that, not the land for the parking, but the right to park? The parking lot for the number of parking spots that he.
Well, that is an issue there because of the footprint.
Because then we could reserve parking for that
Right.
business.
That would diminish unfortunately, the interest we have in the property now by 2 people includes access to Dayton Street through, through an area. In other words, if let's say if the current business was interested in it, they couldn't access it without some of the parking lot. The parking lot behind the library that goes behind their business, that is adjacent to their business, you understand? The city owns the library, they also own the land behind it, which is used as a parking lot, half of which is used as a municipal parking lot. So we would have to determine. That would be something the council could decide, I guess, how much of the property could be offered for sale, or. In other words,
So could we talk about first, I think we agree that we gotta sell.
there you go.
And we've got 2 choices now to sell, one through broker and one through
Through for sale value,
for sale by owner.
yeah, which would make it like,
Can we make a recommendation on that decision first?
right?
So I recommend,
And then have the council or bring it back to decide what's for sale.
sale, after we get a little more information on that, maybe.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe we should just table this until the guy can put it on the agenda here to, because he's not saying we're incompetent by any means, but to have the rest of the information on what he's thinking.
Well, I had, when I found out he put it on here, I asked him those questions, and I think we'd be safe to do what Roger suggested, but if you want to withhold any action until we find out for sure. I do think it's important to see if the discussion was brought up because of some social media discussion about, let's not sell it, let's not let an old building go to waste or, historic buildings, but I think we're bound to sell it or bound to for the new library, we're bound to contribute the money for selling the old one or the funds that would be raised by selling the old one, I guess it's that. And then the method of selling it, I think Roger's right, we can decide to do it through, but that raises another question of what is the procedure, then we have to have a process for choosing a broker. All of that sounds like we have a lot of time, but really we don't have a lot of time. Start getting something started. Discuss with possible action, listing the formal library.
I'm looking
at a map here, so the access to the parking behind the public library is off of William Street.
You're right. However, the person who kept trying to get us to give them an option to purchase, okay, could only access it to their property if part of the parking lot was included, part behind the lot.
So there must be more to that story than fully graphic here, but I'm guessing who it might be.
Wouldn't take, it doesn't have to be a very wild guess,
No.
seeing as how they've already obtained some options on other buildings. So, I mean, what we list is another question. But I think that we can solve one, we can recommend to the council that all these questions can be decided when we choose a broker and tell them the parameters of what it is we're selling. Wouldn't you say, Brock? That makes sense to you?
Makes sense to me, yeah, and the broker might even have some insight to help you with that as well. So,
Yeah. All right, so I think we could safely do what Roger suggested, and that would be to recommend to council that we start the process of choosing a broker to list the former library, it's not former yet, the library property at 111 North Main Street. And the council would have to then, I mean, we can say that we can choose. Let's see, what did we do with the industrial lots? I think we put a notice, yeah, we sent a notice out and asked them, same with the golf course, and asked people to make proposals who were interested. So. Yeah, do you still have issues there, young man?
No. Ryder wants to put up a motion on the motion.
I make a motion that we, solicit, brokers to submit a proposal selling the library. And then we can table the discussion on what all is sold for the next,
Find the broker.
yeah, but let's focus on finding the broker first.
So your motion is to recommend the council to
Find a broker.
start the process of locating the pirate broker. Or engaging the broker.
There you go.
All right, you're willing to second that?
I'll second.
There you go. And this is money, so please take the roll.
Alderperson Roger Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson Joseph Reese.
Aye.
Alderperson Bob Smith.
Hi, sorry about all the words, but this is important that everybody understands how far we're going and what we're doing exactly.
Yep.
And thanks, Jack, for your questions. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn finance at 7:06 PM.
All in favor? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Call to order. We are, finance is closed.
It's adjourned.
Officially. Okay. Call to order Public Works at 7:07. January 23rd, 2022, 2023. Just looking to get out of there. We have a roll, please.
Yes. Alderperson Jack Abbott.
Here.
Alderperson Kim Olson.
Here.
Alderperson Joseph Reese.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 2, approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 20th, 2022.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any citizen comments regarding Public Works? As I see none, we'll move to item number 4, the monthly utilities report. What Courtney today?
I have that from Courtney, yes. So for water notes, she said the lead disbursement payment on December 28th was for $14,345.42. They have until March, if any incidental services come up, to use the remaining $156,741.65. They have had some water main breaks. On December 19th, there was one at Marguerite and Easy Street. On December 21st, there was one at Green Bay and Forest. And I'm assuming she meant December 30th, there was one at Wisconsin and Center. The water loss for the three totaled 2.5 million gallons. And then she said, well, number 4 has DNR and PSC approvals. Construction is set to begin in summer and the system online by fall of 2024.
I have a question, guys. But some maybe Jack first will have to answer. I understand from listening to the scanner, there was a water main break on 4th Street.
Yes.
Supposed to be fixed this morning, was it fixed?
No,
They ran into some problems there, so, they were cutting the cement out and they lost the cutter. It fell down into the hole. It ruptured some electrical wires, which they were waiting for our light to get there. And that is the last I heard, so I don't think that's been finished.
so, at 4 o'clock when I came through.
Yeah,
it was still closed down.
Yeah, I got
There's
it.
activity there.
Yeah.
But
I
So
know,
it's more than a broken water main now, it's.
well, it's a mess. It's pretty deep too, so that one might be down for a little bit.
Thanks.
yes, thank you.
And then she did have a little under wastewater notes.
Yes,
Okay. They are working on 2023 televising list. A full view of their sewer system should be available after this year's televising is complete. And they are working with MSA on layout and SCADA design for their facility planning project at the plant.
That's exciting.
okay, thank you. Monthly engineering and planning report. Nick is not here, are you next now?
I am,
Okay. You'll have to lower your voice.
I guess. All right, so what Nick has on here is 2022 Bridge Street. They said Town and Country are working on their punch list items. So it comes around.
Yeah.
231 Breckenridge, proposed martial arts studio. They're waiting for the property owner to submit the conditional use permit for review. Once the conditional use has been approved, the occupancy permit that has been filed can be reviewed. Hawker's self-storage development. The proposed self-storage development is in the River Knoll Industrial Park and is progressing. There are 2023 street utility projects. They have plans and contracts being prepared for the work on Alley Street and for the Metalcraft water main. The bid opening date has not yet been set. There is a 2023 PMP project. The county is looking to repave County Highway B next year. Preliminary estimates shared by the county puts the city's cost of this around $25,000. The project is out for bid, with the primary bid being part of Breckenridge Street and Keith Street. If the bids come in low, there is an alternative for, that's where it is, cut off on that. And water service info, working with Courtney to get as much information as can be found to meet the DNR requirement of providing water service size and material for city services.
Did you be able to send that to us?
Absolutely.
I don't see it in here. But I would like to have it in my records.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on, number 6, monthly DPW report. Jack. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you draw. We don't get it. Snow events, this year's been a little different. It's more of a ice event than it is snow events. I'm really kind of hoping we're down a guy right now, so. We have one of our guys leave for a different job, so. If it's a big snow, we all have to pick up another area and one of our trucks stays in the shop. It makes it tough on everybody. But that's the way it's going right now. But like I said, so far it hasn't been horrible. Even though we were following the other day with 3 inches and it started raining, so that's a little strange. Overall, yeah, very strange here. Number 2, brush pickup, we're still doing it once a month, last Monday, every month. That'll be coming up next Monday, of course. So they're still doing it until April. Maintenance, we've had a few issues with some plow trucks. We just got one back today that was running a little rough. Every time we take it in, it's like $1,200.
Actually, you know,
We're totally excited about it. We're almost done. They're very good. They're really good to us. You can call them up and you bring it all the right away. So. We had a couple of incidents with the backhoe, but we fixed them in the house. The loader, we had a couple little problems with, and it recently and so on, but that was also fixed. Holiday decoration, I want to touch on this real quick because I don't think I've gotten a lot of calls on this. Years back, we probably had 27 snowflakes out there, okay? We are down to 10. The reason being, I just want everyone to be aware of this. The reason being is the only snowflakes we put up now are on Hurricane Street. Due to the fact that we replaced the lights on South Main where we used to have snowflakes, okay? But it would have cost us $40,000 to run power out there, so that never got done. It would have been that much more just to put outlets in the poles. $40,000. So that was nixed back in the day when Main Street was done. So now, we used to put them on Bridge Street, but we don't own Bridge Street poles anymore because we remember those were all falling over, so they're now on wooden poles, so those snowflakes haven't come back out. And the ones on Bridge Street, those light poles cannot handle those snowflakes. So they're not rated high enough to even take a chance at putting them on there with the wind blowing them and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much the same on South Main. When I would let him put those up, they said, well, you really shouldn't be hitting these snowflakes. They get in the wind and they start rocking. I really don't want to put a snowflake up, taking a chance on a lake pole, especially our new ones going down. So that is part of the reason why we don't see a lot of the snowflakes in town.
who made, was it? Because, that was a state thing.
Right.
So
But it would have been our expense.
the state
I don't,
decided what
I just remember the number when it came out. I don't remember.
light poles we had to put up. Is that what
Yeah.
part of the deal?
Yeah, well, we had the old light poles, like the ones we just replaced on Bridge Street. That's what we had there originally. And, of course, they were all rotting out at the bottom, so that's the city decided to do it. With the,
Instead of rats. Are we talking about the rats?
no, the wraps are the ones that we're talking about going downtown. Me and John have touched base on that a little bit. And the old wraps that used to be on there have dry rotted because they've been out there for some years. And so every time we try to wrap them, they crack. So we have a lot of issues with that. So I'm hoping that maybe someone can raise some money and like I said, I'm talking with John about he's looking to get some wraps put on there. I thought the little lights looked fine last year personally in there. But
What kind of,
So decorations just need to be something smaller than
Yes.
something like that.
Something that's not.
Not gonna catch the wind.
Yeah, and those light poles, like I said, they don't have the outlets in them anymore. Because it's definitely another run of wires, is what I was explaining when they did submarine. And they replaced everything underground.
it would have to be dedicated.
Yes, so if, I mean, if you wanted to do it, you're looking at probably a lot of money.
So basically, just, I wanna make sure I'm understanding this right, so like how they have them wrapped with standard lights is pretty much the extent of what you can do down there.
Downtown,
Yeah,
yes, yes, because those definitely cannot have. I mean, we've replaced a few of the bases on there, right? Those bases, they have a round base on them, and the bases themselves are just crumbling. Those little light poles, so we redid the bases and mounted them back on, but they're too, I don't think we should go too heavy on anything like that, because they're really not designed.
So they didn't even want us to put no parking signs on.
No, you're right. You're
They
right.
told us we couldn't put,
That's how much, I mean, you know, that wind gets going with those, even those holes on Oregon Street, you can watch them when that wind is going, and those snowflakes are. and
so what you're saying is we've got to change and find more appropriate holiday decorations that.
I actually like what he did there with just the single red strand of lights, I didn't think it was bad, I don't, that's my opinion, but I.
Smaller.
There was-
Yeah.
I can clarify a little bit when I get my report, what we would, some stuff we've been talking about and all that, what we kind of came up with the Main Street.
Didn't we used to have something on the boulevard,
Some numbers.
one time driven?
Yeah, we have numbers too.
Well,
We have some different ideas.
They used to, see, Festival of Lights is no longer Festival of Lights. So all these very good ladies that did this for years and years and years decided that, they got rid of it. They done with Festival of Lights, they couldn't find any volunteers.
It's still a cat, I thought, because there's money.
There is $2,000 left according to one of the ladies that talked.
So can we keep the festival lights afloat? If there's
If you can
people
get
on
it, I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could.
But they do more than just in front of the limestone school.
Yeah,
They
they
do
used to
boulevard.
do on the boulevard. We haul all the lights down to Foster Park. They're stored at the old Mech building on Oregon Street. So we haul them down there, and I can't thank Metalcraft enough. They have a group of people that come in, we get them positioned, and I said, you guys put wherever you want. You're doing this for us, and I really do appreciate it. And they come down with a group of people and put all this up for us. So
So you're not opposed to decoration, you just want something more appropriate to the old and
Right.
something that.
right, yeah.
How good your eyesight.
Yeah.
This was by the Pfister Milwaukee. They're very beautiful, but we have a semis going through Mayville here,
Yeah, that, I don't think
which I
that,
wish would go away.
well, yeah,
we can't scrap from one end to the other.
It's doable and it's light, but again,
How you feel about it.
semis. I just wanted to show you.
That is beautiful, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Any other questions on that? Okay, my salt update, we finally got our first batch delivered for this year. We've still been working off last year, which is great news for me. So we should be really in pretty good shape with salt. So
So we don't use it, did we look ahead and purchase salt?
yeah.
We're on the hook for that.
Yes, we used to purchase 1,800 ton. We're now down to about 900. Because we've been fortunate enough that my stuff from last year is, we were stockpiled it till this year, so we had like 800 ton left from last year. So it's always a gamble, don't get me wrong, because we will not get any more. If we order 900 and say we had a winter where it snowed every day, we'd probably be in trouble. But that's the chance we have.
They used to let you reserve
You can reserve 20%, so I did that, I put a reserve in too,
Okay,
but we don't have to take the reserve,
right,
so
but the price is held.
that price is held with the reserve, you're correct. So we should be okay there. Any other questions?
No, thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 7, monthly park report.
All right. Several buildings, rentals has, for 2022, kind of a follow-up to last year. Rentals were really good. Senior center is up 325%. We put projection in every year where, revenues are supposed to be. And these numbers I give you are all pre-COVID numbers. Pavilion was at 120% and our shelters, which our main one is Highland Park, was at 150%. So we had a really good year last year. This year, it's looking just as good. People are really getting out, renting them, using them, helps out a lot. Then all the new doors at the pavilion have been installed. All the stuff from my end is just a little bit of trim work inside. Turned out really nice. They did a great job. Other than that, this time of year is just working on repairs in the senior center pavilion and helping out at the TAG center. They have a bunch of tile work they need done. So I'm gonna look out there and help them with that. Was approached by the Rotary about a project that they're looking at doing, as a new building storage unit down in the kayaks. And then also the beginning stage of another project that they contacted me about. That one I'll give you more info as it comes out. So they're great again this year, looking at doing a couple more projects in for the parks again. So any question on buildings? All right, grounds, Dan continuing to cut trees in Ziegler Woods as everything freezes up. Ground freezes in that, he's gonna do some cutting and of the more trees. Jack and the guys go and drop these trees, a lot of these big trees, they have a lot of background with that and safe dropping, that he cuts them and takes them up behind the wastewater and puts them in a big stockpile where anybody can come and grab the wood. As far as this time of year, also, it's the time that I have all the equipment ripped apart, going through it, waiting for parts to come in, getting everything ready between vehicles and equipment for spring to come. If any of you guys can get questions from River Soccer Road again, that area, that road that goes from Dunn Road to Federal Park, I think it falls on, it gets shut down every winter. We only own half of that road that goes through there, and I know there's a few residents in the area that get upset about that. This time, it's got done filling out the Tree City USA application, submitted it. Now going on to the Christmas lights, with what Jack was saying, I met with Dawn, Main Street, part of Main Street, and what we came up with, talking to the mayor, he wanted us to submit a bid in or quote in to the city to see if there is something that the city would want to do as far as going forward with the lights. So what we came up with down there was wraps again for the poles down there. The wraps, and then on the top a ribbon, so there's nothing that is going to catch wind or anything like that was there before. Then the other thing was, banners we put down for, been talking to Jack, there is some Christmas banners that we have access to. And then also, tree, planters downtown. So there's, I believe 14 planters downtown in front of businesses that have, outlets. And what we came up with, Dawn and I came up with, was running a program. I can build the skeleton of trees. It's kind of like the trees that actually were in Foster Park and down where the Mabel sign was. The trees are down. I can build them really inexpensively. And then I started talking to people already and seeing if people want to donate one or submit money for a tree. And then we put a little card on it. Every year we can take them out. The small trees are like 3 feet, and then we actually would make money on, once we build them the first year, I would build all the trees. And once we actually have them, they would last for years. And every year, a small tree, a 3-foot tree and down on Main Street, you know, we got $20, I can build it for less than half of that. And then if more people want to get into, people I talked to who are interested in giving a donation for this, we would use it and put them in the more in Foster Park along the sidewalks up there. So we'd be able to raise some money. And then after the first year, then it would just be money we could raise for more Christmas decoration, more stuff like that. So the stuff we would have. The price that we got right now, this time of year, everything is down between 30 and 50%. That's why we're doing it right now. And to do the banners, wraps, we're in that range of around $12,000 to $15,000 right now. Is what we have, but we're finalizing that and then we'll put in a bid and just see where we want to go with it. But we kind of have a plan here. Like Jack said, Metalcraft is taking care of Foster Park. BMO has already contacted us about doing the Mabel sign that's down in the work on in Maine. They want to do the decorating in there. Other than that, Dawn and I are just gonna go out and work on getting people that want to come in and help out and volunteer and do the decorations. Kind of like we had for the flowers down there. I got a group of people that come in and plant flowers on Main Street and we take care of them. And I've got a lot of people that are interested in helping out. You know, we could do it on a warmer day. It would be end October, we got in November and get all these decorations up and, you know, would be like I said, bother for DPW, they're out doing leaves and that's a really, really busy time for us, so we can all work together and it seems like there's a lot of interest in the people, the citizens of Mayville, so they want to help out with this. So I think that's kind of the route we're looking at right now, just kind of early stages. But as far as ordering stuff and that, this is the time to do it. Everything's on sale right now.
So these trees, are they three-dimensional?
Yeah, they're three-dimensional. They're made with pieces of conduit, three, and then there's a pipe, a hose that goes around the bottom, and then the lights go up over the top, down, up, down, so you look through them. And like I said,
The frame thing,
what's that?
aluminum frame?
Yeah, aluminum conduit will be what the frame is, so they'll last for years. The ones that are down on, in Foster Park and the ones that we have in, down by the Maple sign, I actually built probably 15 years ago for a festival lights that are still going, other than lights burning out every now and then. I did that for festival lights, just helping them out a long time ago. So that's the same thing that we have.
The storage place?
Yep, down in the Parks Garage, we have up on top of the, break room down there, we have a big area, that's where everything is, and then that's where we're also gonna keep all the new stuff or anything that we build. So that's kind of where we are right now for planning for next year, so. Any questions on any of that at all?
Thank you.
So, and last thing, guys, just a senior center, report, we just signed a year-long contract, they have the Meals on Wheels program running out of that center again. As far as the seniors, they continue to use facility for cardio cards, sorry. Sloppy handwriting, cards, bingo, and other, they've been doing more senior activities down there, so more meals, they got that inheritance down there, that money that's handed down to them, so they're able to do a bunch more stuff. And amazingly, they are picking up more members now too, because they're able to do all these, you know, events that are free down there also, which is good. Other than that, date time of our next park board meeting is Wednesday, January 1st, 6 p.m. right here at City Hall. Any questions?
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you much. Okay, that completes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:30.
Thank you.
And then I'll call the personnel committee, well, first you gotta get it.
Second. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now I'll call the personnel committee meeting at 7:31 p.m. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Kim Olson,
Here,
Alderperson Joseph Reese,
Here.
Alderperson Jack Abbott.
Here.
We have quorum.
can I get approval for the November 28th, 2022 minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the personnel committee meeting on November 28th, 2022.
I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any citizens' comments pertaining to personnel? Seeing none. Move on to item 4, items of discussion, possible action. Discuss with possible action hiring a DPW worker.
Yeah, I would love to get this going as soon as we can, but we have one of our guys leave for another job. So as soon as we,
You're actually down more than one person, aren't you?
we've got a rough week, a rough year. It's that one of our guys, his wife got a little sick and we also have another one coming up probably sometime this summer who's going to be retiring. So I would really like to get this guy on board if we could get him into the snow season, because otherwise I'm gonna have 2 rookies on plows, which scares me pretty bad.
Okay.
You have any applicants or are you looking?
I am looking just to get this rolling.
So you wanna put a
I want to get it in the paper.
post it.
Yes.
This is something we have to recommend to council.
Yeah.
Okay, I will make a motion to recommend to council to post DPW position.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Thank you.
All right,
Wait a minute.
Can we just simplify it a little bit, just maybe make a motion to let Jack do what Jack's got to do.
Well, we have, we have, the personnel committee has to interview the applicant, thing.
For DPW.
I don't know,
so.
or maybe Jack.
I think if it was a department head, we would.
Yeah,
but
I think I interviewed most of them, but I'm fine with you guys sitting in.
No, we sure don't want to do that.
We'll leave it up to the expert.
I was gonna say, just kind of maybe simplify that motion a little bit to just, send it to council with recommendation to approve, the head of DPW soliciting applicants for a position.
I just want to let you guys know, here's what we generally do is I have one of my guys here with a pickup truck. I have a loader out in the yard. So I want to make sure
The
that,
hands-on,
yes, it is a hands-on interview also, because I don't want to have someone say, oh, I got years of experience.
this requires either they get a
Yes,
commercial license or they have one.
we,
So, but we have posted this before, so if the clerk looks in the past, then she would know how to post it. The wages and all of that is pretty much,
well, it's something we should discuss. I mean, we've
well,
generally,
we can't do simple, but we have to.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to see at least a wage of 23 an hour to start. Otherwise, I just don't think we're gonna.
Include that in your motion, you guys. And it would be called the general,
Because the guy that left was
General
great,
labor.
yeah. It would be, he's a little more in general, because he's gonna have to run a plow truck, so I don't know how we want to state that.
CDL.
He's good, yeah, we're gonna have to have a CDL.
and this is not one where CDL is required. Once you get the job, this is, you want them to have a CDL before they apply.
I would like that, but if it comes down to the point where we can give them 6 months, that's what we're gonna have.
CDL is preferred.
And it's a lot different now, the process for obtaining a CDL. It's not like it was where you can just go test. You're talking
It's a lot tougher.
I'm talking about
classroom
the postage.
education and about $5,000 out of your own pocket to do it.
They're talking about getting it in the newspaper and getting it on our.
No, I know, but I want to make sure that everybody else is aware why, it's definitely preferable to bring somebody on with one rather than try and wait for them to get one, because the entire process is way more involved, way more
Time and money.
difficult.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's a likely chance you could get an applicant that doesn't have it, that says they're gonna go and get it, and they don't get it. I mean, I literally just had this happen at work within the last few months, where we had a guy that he had to test 3 times. So it's.
I've known people that have flunked this. Over and over.
Yeah.
So did we in the past have the applicants apply to City Hall or apply to you,
To City Hall.
to City Hall, and then
Then
they
I'll go-
forward them to
then we
you
go-
and you
yeah.
give them the test? Okay. So we should put that in the motion.
okay,
You want a starting wage preferably of 23 an hour with room to go
With
up if you need.
the group.
If you got somebody that's got a CDL, it's worth more to get them in right away.
Yeah, the trouble is I can't have the new guys start at more than some of the guys are making.
Yeah, no, I understand.
That would not be a good situation.
okay. So I'll amend my motion to recommend to council
I don't know,
to
but
post.
I think the action can be taken by the personnel committee. I don't think the council has to approve this, but I could be wrong.
Why don't we do it that way? Let's try it. So he can get moving on this. Go ahead and word it, and it is possible action So if we can do this tonight, let's do it.
Okay. We know that we can for sure.
What do you think?
She would,
I would like to get this in the paper, actually. This.
Annie, if it turns
Yes,
out that that Claire or you're looking in the past, if it turns out we have to run this through council, then we have to do that, then we can put that in the motion, but I'm pretty sure we can do it without running it through fire department, doesn't run it through council. I'm thinking we can post jobs directly from the personnel, but I might be wrong.
See,
I think you may be okay since it's just a replacement of an existing job that's already been
Right,
budgeted.
yeah.
You're not creating a new position.
Yeah, if we're creating a new position, it might be different.
I'm just kind of wondering too, like, what do our other departments do? I mean, they don't all come to us and
No,
ask when
they-
they want to hire somebody. I mean, I appreciate that you do. I'm not saying you shouldn't if you want to, but.
They just put a sign on the bulletin board and tag sign.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't see why we can't, just kind of get it done for them tonight.
If we're wrong, then we'll bring it to council for
All
that.
right, I'll make a motion to give Jack to go ahead to post.
No, the city's gonna post it, but Jack's gonna take the applicant.
Okay. That's all. I started it.
No, we, see if it's gonna go to.
4, okay. Amend the motion to post the position for DPW, giving Jack the access to interview with a starting wage of $23 an hour and CDL required.
Preferred. I would say preferred.
I would say preferred because. Yeah, let's say preferred,
CDL preferred.
Strongly preferred.
strongly preferred would be better.
Strongly.
Yeah, you get some farm boy that's been driving trucks and tractors for 5 years without a CDL, they could probably shoe in pretty quick.
Yeah. Are you good? The whole thing? I'll second it.
I believe so.
Go find somebody, Jack.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor, if we do a roll call?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait, you gotta
Yeah,
do a roll call.
there's one.
Alderperson Abbott,
Aye.
Alderperson Reese,
Aye.
Alderperson Olson.
Aye. Okay, moving on. Discuss approved separation payment for Sarah Decker. I believe it's in our packet. And I thought it was in.
I did look this over a little bit and we're the discuss phase, right? I did see one thing just with the paperwork here.
So we have to make a motion before.
I don't think so, just because it's up there for discussion. I wanted to discuss. Yeah, I can talk about it. Under, is this a police officer? I don't think Sarah was, but the box is checked yes, so we might just want to change it to make sure that it's accurately reflected.
When they put the sheets on the side, it is.
Turn your rotating.
Yeah, I'm fitting it.
It was rough to scan. They were
Okay.
different sizes.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, so
Your motion can include correcting.
Yep.
and everything looked correct to you, Angie?
From what I had initially reviewed, everything looked correct and it looks like she attached documentation that showed approval for the addition.
Um. Are there any questions pertaining to this one from anybody? Have you got time to look it over?
Well, I'm on finance, I looked it over, just fine.
Okay. So then we can,
Yeah, I'll just go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve separation payment for Sarah Decker, with the exception that the form is corrected to reflect that she is not a police officer.
I'll second the motion.
and do we need a motion on this, because it's one,
Yes, we do.
Alderperson Reese,
Aye.
Alderperson Abbott,
All right,
Alderperson Olson.
aye. Okay, number 3, discuss approved separation payment for Jake Weiss. Where's Jake?
He's the guy who runs the
He was a DPW person a lot.
DPW. wanted. And did everything look kosher to everyone?
I haven't seen anything that's, and,
In that case, can I have a motion to approve this?
I will make a motion to approve final separation payment for Mr. Weiss.
I will second that. And we'll do a roll call on that as well.
Alderperson Abbott,
All right,
Alderperson Olson,
Aye.
Alderperson Reese.
aye.
Okay, then number 4, discuss with possible action modification to resolution 5787-2022 separation payout worksheet. Did everybody get a chance to look that over? What's in the handbook there? You wanted to bring it up. We do need to make a change. So to find it.
what was the change concerning?
Well,
Yeah, that's, I was like, I thought we kind of had this all hammered out before.
Well, I was part of that. There are 2 changes, actually. One is you don't want the people totally in control of the payout, who are the ones the payout is for. That's one thing that should be addressed. I didn't come up with that, somebody else did, but they're absolutely right. The other thing is, this payout thing we did because a water department employee left and it was kind of a hostile situation, so we wanted to get it done and have the payout be, for litigation purposes, to be immediate. But immediate means the very next, that doesn't give you time to, you know, you got a little bit of time to review it, so that's what I think they put it on here for. I don't know for sure, but they wanted more than just that payroll period, they wanted the following payroll period. I think they have some kind of language we recommended, and that changes it from the next payroll period to the something more liberal, so like, you know what I mean?
not doing your own payout.
Well, that was the second issue, is not doing, it just so happened we had 2 terminations or 2 resignations that included people who were responsible for making their own payouts, and they were supposed to, according to our resolution,
Yeah, the resolution.
they had to get the payout before they were out of here. And that was kind of unusual, so that's why somebody put it on here.
We did make the modification right here, it is. Resolution. Whereas separation detached worksheet shall be completed by the comptroller treasurer in regards to employee separation payout.
What if it's the comptroller treasurer, who's the one
Yeah, that's what I'm
that
saying.
applies to it, see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it's approved by the clerk, and it so happens that both of them were
right.
subject to. So they just wanted, you know, that was an issue they wanted you to cover on that language, which you're right, that was that resolution was a redoing of something that happened in 2016. And in the redoing of it, we brought it up to date because the water department employee that we didn't want to hold up their pay, we wanted to issue their paycheck because it's a little different on the next, so let's just, the next pay period. Actually, it could be within the next 2 pay periods. I don't know what, didn't they have some recommended language that they wanted included on there? Angie?
I do not have any background information on this.
So do we just need to add, that as here, you know, it says that shall be complete by the comptroller treasurer, and just add a sentence saying that
But not to be done
Upon-
themselves.
But see, I thought that's why we threw that part in there, the 5787, where it says, and then it has to be approved by the mayor.
Does that say that now?
That's what 5787 says, and that's what we did back in, I mean, that's 5787, 2022, that's what we did back in June, that's why I said, I thought this was all kind of wrapped up in that resolution.
But I think there should be something in there that says, also to where if it were the comptroller treasurer or city clerk, that they cannot do their own.
And then the question is, who does it?
Well, if I can talk, I happened to ask these same questions because I was busy with this whole thing to begin with. And it turns out that when it was done, as you know, these things happen real quick. And not only were individuals computing their own payout, but it had to be done according to that resolution by a certain date, certain. And they didn't want to be held to that date certain until somebody could review, you know, to review what it was all about, how much vacation time, how the calculations, this paid, whatever, it is, paid time off or whatever it is. There were some complications there, so that whoever put this on the agenda felt that the city should have time to review it, and it should be calculated by somebody other than the person who's leaving, which makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, there was one we didn't vote on, which was separation pay for another individual who calculated her own, but we haven't even presented that. Okay. I don't think we voted on that one yet, have we? Your predecessor? Has hers come up for?
Hers was approved.
Oh,
Yeah, last meeting.
Hers was approved,
Last
the initial one, we did modify it, right, or we did.
I don't know, that would have been before me, but
I think there was something to do with vacation days.
That's
No, that
what
was
prompted
there,
this.
that's the word.
yeah.
Done with that.
So when some of this stuff comes before, you know, your committee, yeah. It would be nice if some of you would have recommended language, they put on here, okay, we know there's some things wrong with this, but what do you recommend we do?
See, and that's where I'm confused, that is what is it
So I
that,
think you guys should table. it.
I think I'm in
Whoever
agreement with,
figure-
because we need the person that put this on here to give us context.
Right. And I would try to give you the 2 things that were brought up.
Yeah.
That I was aware
And the correct wording that should be changed.
of, yeah.
Alright, I'll make a motion to table discussion with possible action to resolution 5787 2022. Until next month, when we can get more context on
Do we want to add the separation one as well in there?
it. It's all in there together.
Is there?
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's gonna,
we're just gonna table this whole discussion topic number 4
Okay.
until next month, basically.
All right, and
I will second that motion.
okay, all those in favor? Aye.
I'll make a motion to adjourn personnel at 7:53 PM.
And I will second it. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I didn't mean to interfere.
No, no,
No,
I'm fine
it
with
was
that.
necessary.
And thank you, Lisa, for coming to the meeting.
Yes.
I thought I had to pay attention to you guys.
What's that?
I thought I had to pay attention to you guys.
I was wondering, it's just a thought, so you were mentioning with the library being sold, did you ever think of putting it up on an auction?
That's what we'd rather, well, then you're liable to underprice. it.
Seen
Well,
some amazing auctions. like-
Yeah, I know.
Like on some cat. Oh my goodness.
Minimum, right? I don't know, we have a process.
I'm just saying, lately that's been like the hot end, and it's been going a lot higher than.
We have to really determine what we're selling. You know, how much is
Interesting
going
idea,
with
though.
it.
It's just another option.
That's a unique building. I'd love to see somebody.
You have people fighting that it's historical, and want to keep it, and Quick Trip Live, they're gonna put it down.
I don't think it's that historical.
I don't either.
That would be good to bring